Welcome back to Home Brew Movies. This is Phil.
This is Taylor.
And we are talking about each X-Men movie leading up to Dark Phoenix. Today we are talking about X-Men: The Last Stand.
And we are rating each of these movies on a definitive, scientifically proven list.
You cannot argue this list.
Nope, we will find you and we will destroy you if you do.
It's true. We will destroy all the non-believers. Indeed.
Indeed. Phil, what year was this movie made?
This was released in 2006.
It was 2006. Okay.
Yes, with a budget of $210 million. And I was going to look up a movie with a similar budget around the same time, but it's hard to find one. Do you want to know what that is? Because as of the production of this movie, I believe that was the highest costed film of all time.
Are you serious?
Yes. Sorry. From the two sources I looked up, yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
However, I could see that. I don't know.
That's... Okay, yeah, those later scenes.
Yeah, and I mean, you could do a lot more with that money nowadays, but I mean, if this one was probably the first one to, like, go that hard with it, you know what I mean? So, budget of $210 million, and it brought in $459 million at the box office.
Oof. I know, I went to go see it.
That's a little bit of cheddar.
Theater.
I also was in the theater twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did little kid you love it as much as you love the other ones?
No.
No.
But see, it's because I was 13 at this time, so I was starting to be like wise to the world.
Oh, didn't become wise to the world till like 2 years ago.
Well, they were watching these at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's remind the viewers of where we placed our previous movies.
So as of right now, we have two movies on the list. We have X-Men and X-Men 2. And coming in at number 1, we have X2, X-Men United. And number 2, we have X-Men 2000.
And we are very in unison about these.
Yeah, no, that one's definite. That one's
X2 is way better than the first one.
Ironclad.
I think this one's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens because I know with the first X-Men and the second one a little bit, but not as much. As we talked about it kind of really changed how I thought I would like the movie as we got to the ranking point. I know X-Men 1 I liked a lot more until we broke it down, and then I was like, it was not that good of a movie.
Yeah, so I think we're going to end up like talking about the list a lot more. And like how exactly we want to place the movies that are on it and for what reasons. Because right now we were just kind of like, oh, this one is definitively better. Whereas with this movie, we're going to have to talk about what aspects are better, why we think those are more important for a movie, and why they're more important for superhero movies. Because it's a little bit trickier with this one, I think.
It is. And also, you may have noticed there's only two of us. And if we come to a point where we're tied and we don't know where to point this movie, I will probably cave because I'm a pushover.
This is true.
Yeah.
And I will let him.
And that's how our friendship has gotten this strong.
Ironclad.
At the first sign of adversity, I'm out. We're good.
Ironclad.
So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go right into a scene-by-scene breakdown to talk about this movie. Yep. Obviously, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie, go check it out if you want to follow along with us. If you don't really care that much, you can just listen. I'm sure it'll be just like watching the movie.
Fun fact, I watched this movie today because I had no other time.
And I caught the last bit of it.
So I got to watch part of it with Phil. So that was a fun experience because we had the same reactions about everything. It was great. So
I guess that's also why we're friends or whatever, but you know, mostly the pushover thing.
It's true. So in the beginning of the movie, I just want to say, remember how it used to be so important for DVD main menus to be like really cool and like high tech looking and give you like the illusion of choice?
I do.
Because when I started this movie, it asked me if I wanted to join the Brotherhood or take a stand. And I had to Google.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I had to Google. I was like, am I going to be watching like two different versions of this movie or something? What is this? It's literally just for the color choice of like the rest of the title screen.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%. So like if you wanted to be on Magneto's side, it was red. And if you were on the X-Men side, it was blue. I accidentally chose the X-Men side and I didn't know how to go back.
Oh, you were going to join the Brotherhood?
I was, yeah. Cause
wow.
Magneto's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be with the Homo sapiens and their guns.
Of course not. Those Homo sapiens and their guns.
So yeah, that was important. And
so
then,
I'm assuming you pressed play.
I did.
And then did it go straight into the 20th Century Fox thing?
It did.
Where it did the X fade out!
I was so happy. I actually missed it because I was like getting my like notebook ready. So I like rewinded it like 3 times to the Fox thing just to make sure they did the X fade out. It's very important.
It is ridiculous how much I love that they just leave that X hanging.
They better have it for every freaking movie.
It's gonna be.
Or I'm done.
I'm excited for it not to be on one of them, and it's be like bottom of the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, it'll rank it pretty low.
It's gonna be a big blow.
Woo! All right, so we got that. And then we go into a 20-year flashback.
Yes. Did it say 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
Okay. Because it's also set in the not too distant future.
What?
Not the flashback, but when it gets back to like present, it's called the not too distant future.
Are you serious?
I am.
That's really annoying.
Because we're a movie in the early 2000s.
They could just say present.
Yep, present day. Well, it's not present day. It's
20
not too
years
distant future.
later. They could say 20 years later.
Well, we've already established a timeline with the first 2 movies.
All right.
So we're
off to a bad
pull
start.
up on this cul-de-sac in little suburbia.
And Charles and Eric are friends at this point.
And Charles, so this is also, I think, the first time we tried de-aging on like a grand scale.
Oh my god, he's smoothed over.
Charles looked fine-ish, and Magneto did not.
See, it's funny because I didn't even really notice Magneto's like smoothing Photoshop.
Oh, you didn't notice
No,
his?
I just noticed Charles.
Oh, see, because Magneto, like his like chin and nose got like pointed and stretched out really weird.
Weird.
It was weird.
I wasn't paying as close attention to him, so I'll have to go back and look at that because I'm really curious.
Yeah, it's.
But yeah, it was not great.
It's definitely not where it is now.
I was like, ooh.
And even now, where it's not top notch.
Yeah.
Looking back to where we were, I was like, "Oh boy," because I had totally forgotten they even tried that.
I was not anticipating that. I was like, is he photoshopped right now?
But turns out,
did they?
So we walk up, we see the mailbox for the Gray residence. Mm-hmm. Those of you who might be keeping a keen eye might know that there's a hidden Easter egg here because there's an X-Men named Jean Grey that I think that mailbox is supposedly like be like a little reference to.
Oh, I never would have caught that.
Yeah, I know. That's why you watch movies with Phyllis. He points out the little Easter eggs.
You're such a superhero expert.
It's gonna be really funny in like 5 minutes when I blow your mind about something. By the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. We go to these 2 people. One of which looks extremely like the actress for Jean Grey.
And the little girl.
Famke.
It turns out the de-aging on Famke Janssen went really well because she looked just like a little girl version of Famke Janssen.
Was that Jean Grey?
It's hard to say.
Is that little girl Jean Grey?
If I had to guess. I mean, who's to say what the writers chose?
Whoa!
Yeah, so we have a little baby Jean Grey. And so it was funny because at this point in my notes I wrote down, do you remember two movies ago where she couldn't use telekinesis like at all? And she was like outside lifting cars and stuff in this one. So
I was like, oh, so she can do this such as a child. Okay,
yeah.
Cool, got it. I also would like to point out that at one point, so they were talking to her parents and they were like, oh, she's ill. And then Magneto got out, what do you mean ill? And then they were like, we'd like to speak to Jean alone. And the mom said, oh, of course. Like, do you know these people?
You just leave with these 2 old guys.
You don't know these people. They were like, oh, she was like apologetic.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm sorry, yeah.
I'll give you guys some space.
Here you go. Here's my 12-year-old daughter.
And also because there was that like psychic conversation they had. And then like it looked like just eye contact from the outside though. Because remember Charles was like, it's rude to poke into people's heads without like telling them or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, how'd you know? But they're just like looking at each other while this is happening. And the mom's like, do you guys want some tea? And then Charles is like, I need a moment alone with your daughter. And she's like, oh yeah, sweet, no problem. So Jean starts lifting the cars outside. We get our Stan Lee cameo because he's watering his plants and the water starts going up.
I was like, oh, hey, what's up?
And you might remember, Phil always talks about pretty much only reading the Chris Claremont stuff of the X-Men, right? Whenever talking about comics.
Yep.
He wrote the arc for God Loves Man Kills and also for Dark Phoenix, which is what this one has some inspiration from. Also Joss Whedon's run of, I think, not Uncanny. I'm not sure which one. But it was his first run of the X-Men comics, which was like called Gifted, which is another part of inspiration for this one. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
The guy with the lawnmower, where his lawnmower starts going away, that was Chris Claremont. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Now that's a real Easter egg instead of Phil just being a little shit.
That's the one where you're going to blow my mind?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mind blown.
I know. That's what that sound effect was.
That's really cool, though, actually.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, he looks really familiar. So I looked it up if he was just like an extra and everything. And I was like, oh, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So then we cut away from that, right? Basically, they were like, "Come with us," and she does.
Yeah. She's like, all right.
10 years ago, they they change. It's a flashback still, but it's 10 years closer to the present.
Of course. It's 10 years closer to the not too distant future.
You're right. My bad.
the not too distant 10 years ago.
And this next scene is the one because I remember probably like 2 scenes from this movie.
Sure.
The Jean Grey explosion at the end.
Okay.
Spoilers. And the scene where
Jean Grey's in this one?
the 10-year-old boy is chopping off his wings in the bathroom before his dad can see him doing it while sobbing.
Dude, that little boy actor kills it.
Yes, he did.
So
but
good.
I think it traumatized me a little bit as a kid.
As it should have, yeah. Because
I don't remember that. That scene came up and I was like, I remember.
It did that for me too, because it started and that's one of those scenes I'd always had like flashbacks of, if that makes sense. Because there's another scene, it may be from an X-Men movie, we'll find out together. But I remember I was like 5 or 6 and like I wanted out to see what my dad was doing because it was like 2 a.m. The story does not lead as bad as it could. But I like wandered around the living room and he was watching a movie. This guy was in the bathroom stall and like he cut his tongue open with a razor blade. And I pieced out and ran back to my room. So like that scene will like play in my head sometimes and I'm like, I want to know what movie that's from, but I also don't want to, and I can't ask my dad because I'll get in trouble for being out of bed. You know what I mean?
I got a few movies like that. I feel you.
And then another scene I kind of think
never
of
know I saw
was like that little kid like cutting on something on his back. I never remembered what it was or where it was from. So that started and I was like, oh. And see, I kind of discounted because I was like, wait, but I thought this kid actor was really good. That doesn't seem par for the course for the
X-Men franchise.
These first movies.
So far, anyway. With the exception of 3 actors, probably.
Yeah.
And even the good actors in these movies do a bad job.
Well, it's one of those ones where I can tell that the writing and direction
hindered the
they're
actors.
doing all they can with it. It's kind of like the prequel movies where you can tell they were doing the best with what they had.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
That's how I feel about Halle Berry. I had to say Ian McKellen was weak, I think, a little bit.
Hugh Jackman kind of carried this one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because I think he had done Wolverine and had become the idea of Wolverine.
Yeah,
so they were just like, go do your Wolverine thing. He's like, all right, I'll just yell and run through a forest. And like, love it.
Oh my God, it's perfect. So then we go into the intro.
Yeah, and it's slightly better.
Yeah,
it's
biology still.
It's still biology, but it's not as fuzzy and zoomed in.
Yeah, it's better. They do little cells and some science boys
also,
in there.
I think this when we transition into title sequences starting to kind of tell us what we can expect to see in the movie.
Yeah.
Instead of like ooh man, look, what are we going to see? And it's like, this is what we're going to see.
I'd also
There's
like
going to
to
be
say
science
that
stuff,
the
fire.
font for the X-Men title, I'm pretty sure it's the same font as like Gillette.
Yeah, probably.
I'm really
well, because it's. I remember at this time Hugh Jackman had the Gillette sponsorship.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Shut up. No, but for real.
It did. No, you're correct. Yeah.
So we got a training sequence.
Yes. Well, we don't know it's a training sequence yet.
Sorry.
Yeah.
End of the world is happening.
Yeah. See this scene I was cracking up with because the way they're all like crouched down and like freaking out, and then Hugh Jackman just strolls up and he's like, "What are we doing?"
That was awesome. At first I was like, is this showing us what the end of the movie is going to be like? Because I thought it was going to be like, this is what happens at the end of the movie. And like, this
not
is
3 days ago.
It's the whole thing is going to be flash forwards and flashbacks.
Oh, I see we had Tarantino do the Last Stand. Awesome.
And I was going to be like, oh, this is why this is the lowest rated X-Men movie. Or one of.
So, good news, everybody. We finally have Ellen Page as Kitty Pryde.
We found Ellen Page.
We got her. They said we couldn't do it.
We did.
They all doubted us.
Proved them all wrong. Finally. Oh, that made me happy.
MVP.
All has come to fruition.
Fresh off of Hard Candy. Was that the movie she did before this one?
I don't know. Was Juno before or after this?
I gotta imagine it was after this.
Not
mainly because I don't want to be wrong.
After this,
I think probably about
this was
the
2006.
time.
I think Juno was like a year or two after this. Probably.
Yeah, it's funny because I try to think about what house I was in when I saw those movies on demand.
That's so valid.
Okay, so there was also during this training sequence, I kept getting Kitty Pryde and Rogue confused, just because they both had their hair in ponytails and were always
totally
by
true.
Bobby.
Fun fact: do you know it was 2007?
Oh,
So right after this movie.
boom! Hard
Nice.
Candy was what, like 2004, 2005?
No, I have to look that up too.
Okay.
Yeah. So the robot head came out, and I was like, they killed Megatron.
Yeah. That's actually a Sentinel. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you had seen the first episode of X-Men the animated series, you would understand that.
You're right, and Hard Candy was 2005.
Oh, double right. Oh. Yeah, I know my own page timeline. What up?
That's something you should be proud of.
Is it? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Wolverine doesn't give a crap about this training sequence that's happening.
Because you guys started working together as a team, according to Storm.
Best defense is a good offense, though.
Yeah. And then you can see their different ideologies, and it'd be really nice if those came back together later on to show that they had growth together as a team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There was a scene where like a missile was coming in at Bobby, and then I thought Rogue grabbed him, and then the missile went through him, so I was like, oh, we're in the danger room, because I thought it was a fake missile.
Oh.
And then turned around, it's Kitty Pryde, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
okay. But then later on, it changed to the danger room.
Yeah,
and
there was a lot happening.
We are in the danger room?
Because Steel Boy touched Rogue, and she turned into Steel. But
yeah.
And I was like, can he transfer his powers? And I was like, no, wait, she just sucked out his powers. Yeah. And he was like, oh. And then Kitty and Bobby phased through.
Yes.
And immediately they're setting us up for this Kitty and Bobby, like, weird romance.
Well, this is another thing where I don't know if they're setting up a romance or like a buddy-buddy thing, but they display all relationships the same way.
You're so right. Which...
Because even like Wolverine and Beast, I'm like, what are you guys going for?
Fair. Furball is a term of endearment. It's true.
I mean, from Wolverine it is. So we leave the danger room, and then we cut to Scott, who's been crying for about 3 years.
Yeah, I think like Storm and Wolverine are talking about. He's like, I'm just a sub, basically.
Oh, that's what it is. She's like, yeah, Tishi's kids. He was like, I'm just a sub, and then walks away.
Yep, and then we're cut. Scott's been crying for 3 years.
About.
Yeah.
Is that how long it's been since X2?
I have no idea. They don't give us any kind of timeline for that.
That's fair.
Just the not too distant future.
Well, that was the not too distant past. So we got...
Oh yeah, you're right. I imagine that this sequence with Scott is like the New Moon, the Twilight franchise thing. And have you seen that?
No.
Oh, where Bella is just sitting in one thing for months, and it just pans to the seasons changing.
That's
around
disgusting.
I just imagine this is what Scott's been up to. He's just been crying.
And then
poor guy.
Logan rolls up and he is like, hey, listen, Jean's death has been equally hard on both of us. Get real liberal with this us business.
Oh, yeah, that hasn't changed because the movies want us to believe that they have the exact same feelings and experiences with Jean Grey.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty convinced, spoiler, that they kill Scott off for this movie just to, like, give Wolverine and Jean Grey their full romantic.
See,
exploit.
We'll get to this at the end. At the end. But
okay.
yeah, I would not be surprised if that's what happened there.
Nope.
So then Scott's about to go on a little field trip by himself. And Logan's like, hey, it's time to move on. And then Scott says,
hey, not everybody heals as fast as you.
Which is a decent line. I thought that was all right.
I was like, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Get him.
But this movie does a couple times, like, set the ball to itself and then try to spike it over the net. And I'm like, it's not that good of a line, though. Mm-hmm. There's a couple times where it lingers for a second so you can, so the audience can be like, oh, man, did they just?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of Halle Berry's delivery felt like that, where she's like, boom, nailed it. And then, like, high fives herself.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt her whole performance, unfortunately. And then we cut to Rogue and Bobby.
Rogue says fine.
Yeah.
Rogue's not fine.
So I'm Bobby, and this is fine. Yeah, she's like, I just want to be able to touch my boyfriend.
He's like, I've never put any pressure on you. And she's like, you're a boy. You only want the one thing.
Yep, and that was the whole scene. And it was so fine. It was so fine.
But see, it's weird because it kept hinting that she was upset about Bobby and Kitty, right? Bobby Iceman. And it never it never had that confrontation between Rogue and Bobby Iceman.
No.
You know what I mean? Which I think it should have built up to. Or like Rogue takes a swing at Kitty and she like phases through it because she's Kitty. Like they could have done a lot.
I'm glad they didn't do the like girl pitting against girl thing. Not that they treat that much better later in the movie with other things.
Well, I'm not saying that's a better way to handle it. I'm saying it's weird that it never came together.
Yeah, right. Like there was.
They kept hinting that there was going to be that like climax of it. There wasn't.
I'd rather have just been like, "What are you doing with Kitty?" Nothing. She's just a friend.
Just a friend.
It doesn't seem that way.
I see the way she walks through your walls.
Yikes.
Do we follow Scott here, or do we cut over to the president's office? Because pretty soon we get introduced to Beast, right?
Mystique
we cut to Beast upside down, hanging out in his office. Right. Mm-hmm. And the guard knocks on the door, and then it spins around to reveal that he's upside down, like Phil just spoiled. Mm-hmm. Hops down, and he's like, "What up? I got a meeting. Let's go."
Why was he upside down?
That's just what Beast does. That's actually kind of his thing. Yeah.
All right, it's kind of his thing.
His thing. Also,
what he do?
He does actually say like his like famous comic line. Now that it's a good one. In the comics a lot, he says, "All my stars and garters."
Oh, because I did hear that, and I was like, "Ah."
Yeah, but he's like,
"What do you mean?"
All my stars and garters.
I liked that. I appreciate that.
Kelsey Grammer's Beast. Kind of dug it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else has Kelsey Grammer been in?
Frasier.
A thing I have never seen.
He's also Sideshow Bob in The Simpsons.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure I've seen him in other stuff too.
Probably.
But yeah, he was good. I liked Beast a lot.
Oh, he also played Frasier in Cheers.
Oh.
So he was Frasier and Frasier and Cheers.
That's what I know him from. No. So yep, he goes. He's part of like the Mutant Affairs Committee. He's the what's his position? He's
the mutie on deck, I think is what his name tag says.
Nope.
No?
No.
Okay.
That's not what it is.
We'll have to pause.
Some kind of I think he's like a secretary of sort.
Yeah, it seems like he's like on the cabinet, but
and I don't mean like filing paperwork secretary. I mean like Secretary of State level thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So he sits down. He talks to the president of the United States. They're chilling in a war room.
Yeah.
Talking about what their next move is.
Yeah, and
there's a war brewing.
Yeah, they're like, we caught her.
Don't talk to me about war.
He's like, don't talk to me about war. This is where I make more Frasier jokes, but it's not gonna.
It's not gonna land.
It's not gonna land. So they're like, we caught this girl sneaking into the FDA of all places. She was just like him. And it points to, I think Trask was his name, which I think, if I remember right, is the guy who made the Sentinel program in the Days of Future Past comic.
Oh, okay.
If I remember right. So I think that's a little Easter egg there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, kind of like the guy in the mailbox thing, like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing.
Okay. And then we flash to Mystique or they show her on a screen
and
talking
it like smooth transitions in. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's talking to the guard who's like, "Where is Magneto?" And she transforms into Magneto.
I'm right here.
He's right in here with us.
He's in here.
We have like Ian McKellen is like our impression is slightly Sean Connery also.
He's running here with us.
And he's like, I don't want to play games with you. And then she turns into him.
Yeah.
And then I think she just attacks him after that.
Well, there's a part where she flips over and like starts choking him out or something. Yeah.
I don't know what becomes of that because it flashes to the people in the like war room.
They should have shot her, right?
Maybe, but the people in the war room didn't like react to that at all.
No. It zooms in on Beast and he's like, well, baby, I hear the blues are calling. That's the theme song for Frasier.
It'd probably be funny if I knew anything about Frasier.
No.
All right.
About the same.
Sounds good. She says some great things to the guard.
Doesn't she drop
also,
Homo sapien at some point?
She does. Also, her name is Raven, which I didn't realize.
Yeah,
at
isn't
the
like
time.
Raven Mist Claw? It's some edge name. It's like your Lord Darkwind
like,
or whatever.
I don't respond to my slave name. And all that, and I was like, okay. She calls him a worthless meat sack.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right into it.
Right.
Cutting
and
deep.
then as she's like choking him out, she's like, "You Homo sapien." And I was like, not as much.
Someone's been
not as nice
neighbor.
and dirty as the Ian McKellen delivery.
Well, because he has a sophistication behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Hers is a little weak, but I took it. I was like, sweet.
We see that. So we had the kid who can blink and change the television. We had that kid who could run on water. We've just had all these like one-off powers, right?
Someone could write.
Someone could hold their hand over paper and make ink appear.
Yep, that's best.
Boom.
Best ability I can think of.
That's definitely what the Mutant Registration Act is for. Is kids who can write at their own will.
It was also when Charles was talking about like when is it okay to use our powers and when do we come
and he's just sitting there using it. He's
but I was like,
hopefully now
he's the one we have to be scared of.
Yeah. What's to stop him from writing on our backs?
Yikes.
I did kind of like that there was like the mutant ethics class. I thought that was interesting.
That's definitely important. It's to like humanize them and show that like obviously they're teaching them to be good people and fitting into society and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And then we see like it starts getting all stormy outside.
Stormy.
Storm-esque. Gray swirling clouds, and then we go outside to where Storm is sitting on the deck listening to Simple Plan. And Charles rolls up and he's like, forecast call for sunny. And then she's
like, oh, sorry. Eyes go white, turns it back to sunny. The Simple Plan quiets.
Yeah, it just fades out to the
I just had it stuck in my head and now I can't think of any of the song. They start bonding basically. He's like, I can, even without that, I can tell something's bothering you, and she's like, I just don't know what to do. And
he can read minds, and also she's changing the weather. Like both of those things are like kind of telltale signs.
There's a red flag there somewhere.
Yeah.
I think they start talking about Jean and
isn't she
Scott.
like, I think something bad's coming, and then he's like, no good. I don't remember, but it leads to his line of, you of all people should know how fast the weather can change.
Yep.
Does it?
And then as soon as he says that, she's like, there's something you're not telling us. And then he just rolls away.
Yes.
He's like, oh, she's catching on to me. Shit. And then I think that we hear about, is that when Hank McCoy comes in? Or is that later? Because they hear about the mutant antibody cure.
Maybe it's just on TV. Oh, it's on TV.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember, they're sitting there watching it. Maybe Beast does come in and show it to him.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But either way, they find out about the mutant thing. Professor X like senses that it's happening.
Oh yeah, he's like, we need to watch channel 2.
They're announcing it now. Turn on channel 7. And then they're at Alcatraz, because where else would you be?
Yeah, well, that's not being used for anything else.
Right. Yep, so they're there. Warren Worthington II is on.
Hell of a name.
Yep. It's important.
Did they tell us what happened to the prison that was there?
Has Alcatraz even been in use for...
Has it not?
No, I don't think it has.
Okay, well then
it's just like a tourist site right now.
Turns out Phil's a very specific gap in knowledge, and that's Alcatraz.
Yeah, it's like a tourist spot I think you can visit, so I'm not like 100% on that.
That makes sense, because I know there are like tourism spots there. I just thought they were like, we can't go past this point.
You can stare at the prisoners from the other side, wave, and take pictures of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was in Book of Eli at the end. That's where
wow, I saw the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like 2 people saw that movie.
Yeah, us. We found each other at last.
Finally. Okay, and then everyone in the school is pretty much watching this announcement about there being a cure, and they're saying that our mutants they're not mutants, they're just people, and they have a disease, and we can help them. And then Rogue walks in. And
she's like, they can cure us.
First, before this, Storm is like, what kind of coward would want to do this?
She's like, what kind of dumb white-haired having bitch would want to get a cure?
And then Rogue walks in.
And Rogue's like,
is it true? Can we be cured?
Can we be cured? And
Professor X says, yeah. And then Storm was like, no, we can't, because there's nothing wrong with us.
Says the girl with the cool power of, like, controlling the weather.
Storm can turn it off and on.
To the girl who can't touch anybody.
No human contact. She's been starved of physical touch since she hit puberty, I think. But no, there's nothing wrong with you, Rogue.
No, yeah.
You're fine.
Suck it up.
Deal with it. You're one of us. I don't blame her. I don't blame Rogue at all.
No. But that's the other thing, too, is I would like to follow... I don't know. I hate that her... So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here real fast. So this scene kind of starts her storyline for this movie, where she decides she wants the cure because Bobby's getting close with Kitty Pryde. And then she goes to get the cure, gets the cure, comes back and tells Bobby she did it for her, not him. And I would love if that took more than 3 minutes of screen time, because that feels like such a good development moment, and like Kitty being like a good catalyst for her to decide what she wants to do for herself. That
absolutely.
I hate that it just kind of got brushed off as like I didn't do it for you, I did it for me.
This speaks so much to my issues with overall with the series, is that there's just no time given to the development of these characters and their relationships with each other.
Right.
They're just like little spots.
Well, we see the snapshots of it developing, but we never get told how or why it's developing.
And then we never get told why we should even care.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly like the whole Gene, Scott, and Logan thing, where it's like there's 100%. This giant love triangle that they're like, you guys know how it's supposed to work.
And we're like, nope.
Yeah.
I don't read this at all.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where I would love if it got a little more screen time, instead of what we got. Because there's scenes where they drag a little bit, especially in this one. X2 not as much, but this one, there was scenes where I was like, we could have cut this to add, a scene where like Bobby and Rogue are like on the couch, but she like scoots away when he could put his arm around her. So there could have been things like that happening, and I don't know. There's just so much missed opportunity with developing such an important storyline of somebody who's a part of the X-Men but doesn't want her powers. Like that's such a thing that we should be focusing on, but we're not.
Like, it would be it would speak so much more to like character development and a reflection of the story and what kind of theme they're trying to push. Because I don't even know what message this movie is trying to show, honestly.
Right, because there's the whole like join the Brotherhood, take a stand, and it's like, you guys are both against the cure. It's just like one of you is like, we shouldn't let him blow up an island.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
One of you is a terrorist.
But that's not taking a stand. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's just, I don't know. Everything is a broad stroke for these movies.
Right.
And we don't get any detail, which is what I super miss.
Yeah.
From him.
Yeah. Anyway, so so then Rogue's like, oh right, Storm's out. And then Storm's out.
After that, we cut to Magneto, or we cut to this like mutant gathering in the city somewhere, where they're like, these people are trying to help us, and others are like, we're fine with the way we are, and then Magneto comes in and is like, that's right, you are fine the way you are, you could be better if you joined my army.
Yeah. And then 3 people roll up.
Yeah.
And there's one guy who's a porcupine and also was in the last 3 seasons of Lost. That's his other mutant power.
Was he?
Yeah. I think is it Daniel Day Kim? Is that his name?
I never watched Lost. And I'm glad that I didn't.
It was a cultural phenomenon that you missed out on, okay?
Listen, I was like 11. I don't know. I'm fine.
So was I! Don't talk to me about Lost.
I know about Lost.
So anyway, so he's a porcupine guy, and then a girl that we find out later has shockwave powers that she can target, which goes against the idea of a shockwave. Mm-hmm. And then there's another girl who's super fast.
Someone is like invisible or something, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, and then one girl's Speedy.
She's
Speedy
super
Gonzalez
fast. And you're like,
there.
oh, that's her mutant power. She's fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's also like a Pokedex.
Among other things, is what she says. So maybe she's a bunch of other things that we don't even know about, too. Well, but we won't find out.
But then she's like, I know there's 87 mutants here, and none of them are as strong as you, because you're a level 4 mutant.
Level 5, I thought.
No, because
Jean
Grey's
right.
level 5.
Mm-hmm. Class.
Did they say class or level?
I think it's class.
Either way.
Class 4 mutant. And the rest here are class 2 and below.
It's just so specific.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, so can she just, is there like a reader in her little brain
I don't know.
that shows like their stats? And,
well, see, here's the thing is I'd be fine if they're like, that's just how it goes. But then later on, she was like, I felt an EMF wave. And it's like, you read EMF to find out people's power levels?
She would know which ones to enter into like the beauty contests and
the
Pokemon games. what their natures were. So that was awesome. We both super enjoyed that. But they totally join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And they're like, sure, why not? Yeah. Where's your mark? And then
he's like, I've had my box.
And he shows the tattoo from the Nazi camp, and he's like, I won't let them touch my skin ever again. And then we cut somewhere else.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And during this time, I was like, the setup for this movie is pretty awesome. Well, see, like I had issues with a lot of the details, but I was like, this is cool.
I was really getting into the like ethics discussion and or the ethics discussion I thought they were going to start having, and like the setup for Rogue's storyline and like Magneto's thing. I was really excited during the setup phase.
So the potential of everything.
And I was like, oh my god, this is going to be better than X2, because like I was into it. You know what I mean? Especially, have we gone back to Scott yet, or is that coming up?
It's coming up.
Okay, because we also have Beast going to see the kid, right?
Yeah. I don't think I know when exactly that happens.
The anti-muty? Yeah,
because I have Mystique is getting transported. The guy's like, I'll spray you, bitch.
So can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
You know how I talk about Mystique and her inconsistent powers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember at the end of X2 where she was Hugh Jackman and was put into handcuffs and then turned into herself and slipped her hand out? You remember all this, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so when she turned into the little girl, why couldn't she slip her hands out?
Because they had them shrink with her. I don't know, Phil.
Then give me that line of dialogue where he says, that's not going to work.
Since he had so many other shitty lines of dialogue, why not add one? So then, the writing is so bad. The writing, and consistently bad.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. They are consistent.
Yeah.
And then we go to the boy in the hospital, and I think that's when Hank McCoy, Hank McCoy comes in. And then he walks up to him and he starts turning like human-y, and the boy's like, I'm sorry, and he's like, don't apologize,
never
this
be
is
sorry
amazing.
for what you are.
It was sad.
Pulls his hand back, the hair grows back immediately, which I thought was a little weird. I understand the blue skin turning back, but then like he immediately had like the hair fuzz come out again, which was kind of weird.
Would that hurt?
Growing hair that fast?
Yeah.
I honestly could not tell you.
I'm curious. So that's just like a quick scene to show like what this boy is capable of. And that's like basically what they were using to like make the cure, right?
Yeah.
It's like the boys, were they just like studying him and like getting,
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, it was the same thing where like the Jason was like secreting juices that they used to like.
Ew.
Yeah, it's probably some stuff like that. But
yeah, they never explain it. They just expect us to just pick up on it, which is fine. So then we go to Scott at the lake.
Yeah, he goes back to Alkali Lake.
Mm-hmm. He's got his apple bottom jeans on.
He has those boots with the fur.
Boots with the fur?
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at her.
The whole lake was looking at her.
He did hit the floor.
Oh boy. So he gets there and we hear Jean, going, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
And then he takes off his glasses.
Concussion blasts the water.
Yeah, shoots the water.
Yeah. Which
somehow awakens the phoenix power of the lake, and she comes back.
I guess.
What?
I actually kind of liked Cool Scott.
Yeah, they never explain how Jean comes back.
No.
Never.
No.
Because I wrote that down later on, and I was like, they never went over that.
No. I'm assuming that like her body was lying dormant there, and then like the concussion blast like moved the water off of her enough to like wake her up. I have no honest answers for you, but I'm assuming that's what kind of happened.
I'm just frowning.
I saw.
I'm letting everybody else know. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was surprised about how early in the movie this happened.
Yeah.
I was expecting her to come back way later, and then
I'll talk about that later also.
Okay, yeah. That was weird to me.
So she rolls up, and then he's like, Jean, and then she's like, open your eyes, and he's like, that's really not a good idea.
Yeah, why would I do that? You just got back here.
And then she's like, want to see your eyes, and he's like, it'll super kill you.
She's like, no, I can control you.
Yeah. And then
he's like, that's hot, sure.
Yeah, he's like, I'm game.
Yeah.
Opens his eyes, and then she makes the Cyclop beams go in his little pupils. Honestly, he has some gorgeous eyes, I'm not gonna lie to you.
First of all,
I mean, if I kissed that guy and he died, flattered.
First of all, flattered. Yep, and then they start smooching.
And
Jean starts.
you flirt with the bad boy, Taylor. You don't suck his brain out through his lips.
They were sucking face, Phil.
Yep.
Literally.
She was sucking life.
Literally. Also, Jean's a god. Is basically what
yes.
She could literally. Wolverine could just stab her, which is interesting to me, but sure. She's freaking crazy.
Yes.
And then somehow Professor X senses what's happening.
Yeah, because he's like, you guys have to go to Alkali Lake. Oh yeah, there was that like. Remember he had like it like shook the school or something, and then Logan runs downstairs and catches up with Storm. And
Alkali Lake is in like Alaska, right?
Yes.
And it shakes the school, which is in New York.
No, I think Professor X felt it and like sent out like a distress beacon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also,
so he felt all the stuff at Alkali Lake, but couldn't feel the stuff in the basement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So he sensed Phoenix, the Great Dark Phoenix's power and everything.
Yes.
And Scott dies.
Yeah.
Scott dies.
Scotty boy gets murked.
Murked it as heck. In fact.
Yeah. So can I? Let me take a segue here real fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna paint you a different story. I want you to tell me how it goes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we have what's about to happen here is we have Professor X. Spoiler alert. Gets killed.
Whoa.
Gets killed dead.
Whoa.
Only for a bit. And and then we have Storm take over as leader. Right. And then Halle Berry can't really carry it, but I understand what they're trying to go for with her character. Right? Yeah. So in the first X-Men movie, we had that scene where Cyclops was like next to Professor X. Well, he was like unconscious, and he was like, you've done so much for me. You've taught me how to be a leader. You're doing these things for me. We're such good friends. I need you in my life, right? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be really cool if Scott had to struggle with being leader of the X-Men after his mentor had just died, and also his like wife/girlfriend that he loved had just come back from the dead
and killed his father figure?
Yeah.
And
wouldn't it be great if like that's what we had to watch a character struggle with instead of like?
And wouldn't it also be cool if instead of Professor X being like, Scott is a changed man, you should be the leader to Storm, and instead like having a bit of dialogue between Scott and him, being like,
hey, I'm a mentor figure.
Fatherly advice.
I'm so sorry you're going through this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Yeah.
That would have been
I mean, if you just used him as the main character instead of Storm, because like we've had Storm benched for the last two movies and we haven't missed her. And then when she came up to like play, it was like, you're not that strong of a character because we haven't had 3 movies with you. Granted, we haven't had 3 movies with anybody except for Wolverine and Professor X.
Yeah.
But there was more inkling of it for Scott to step up into that role. So I feel like we could have explored more through Scott instead of what we got through Storm.
I would have been fine with Storm if they just had better writing for her too, or like given us more in the back in the other 2 movies.
Yeah,
giving us more character, because now it just feels like forced.
Right.
Which I don't appreciate at all. Like, I mean, if you want a strong woman leader leading the film, give her the build-up she deserves for it, rather than, oh yeah, here you go. My
big thing is that this felt more like, oh, Halle Berry negotiated for this to be her character and this movie to come back, and we need Storm to come back. That's what it felt like to me watching this movie over the weekend.
Gotcha.
Is I didn't feel like this is earned for Storm. It felt like Halle Berry and her agent muscled a better story out of her character. You know what I mean?
Something like that.
And granted, that could be way off. I'm not saying that I was ever a part of that conversation.
I totally get that vibe.
That's kind of just what it felt like when I watched it. I was like, this wasn't earned for this character. This was made so Halle Berry would come back.
I get that. Absolutely. I totally get that vibe from that. Because every time she delivered a line, it was just like,
there was that
self-high
there was
five.
that bit of like, it didn't cut away fast enough, or like she was a little bit too smug about it. Like there was that scene where Beast was like, or Angel comes back and he's like, is this a safe place for mutants? Beast says, it used to be. And Storm's like,
yes.
It still is.
It still is.
And then like it hangs on her while she's like, I did it.
Yeah.
I said it.
And,
and there's like that little like,
there's no like emotional, there's no emotional variation in how she delivers any lines either.
No, she's either monotone or hanging on to Hugh Jackman crying.
Yeah. Or not even monotone, but just like that kind of like smug feeling that you were mentioning. Because that's like the like...
I guess monotone was wrong, yeah.
Yeah, the like sense of I am in control and know what I'm doing, rather than having like any kind of doubt about being a leader because she was thrust into this position.
Right.
Any kind of... When she was like... I hated the bit when Wolverine's like, I have to go rescue her. And she's like, because you love her? And I was like, you could have been like... You could have had a different... any kind of different tone to that. But yeah, I could bitch about Halle Berry's acting in this movie forever. So we should just move on.
Or like if right there, if Storm had been like, how do you love her? You guys have had like 20 minutes together.
Yeah. That would have been good, right?
I don't know. There was just so many... It felt like missed opportunities on all levels.
Yes.
For each character.
Yep. I almost think that aspect of it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
Because it's once again just trying to fit in so much. And just like so many different characters and so many different relationships that don't matter.
Right.
And then just chopping it up into a movie.
Well, and it also forces drama that's not earned, and that's going to go back to the whole Katie Bobby Rogue thing. Is it felt just like Gene Scott Logan, where it's like, look, there's these trouble that this couple and this new outsider is having. Yep. And it's like, what trouble?
I see nothing here. So going forward, they have Jean Grey. They find her. Storm
they go
Storm
there.
And Logan go there, and Storm is like, Logan, come here! And she's alive. Logan finds Scott's glasses, but no Scott. Ooh. And then they're like, oh my god, she's alive. I think Logan cries or something, gets real emotional. Gee. Hugh Jackman does carry this movie, actually. And then they bring her back to the place. The school. There we go. The place.
The place with the books and the learning.
And I think we get a scene with Logan and Charles.
Well, there's I don't know if it's here, but there is that scene around here where Professor X and Logan are talking like over Jean's body. Yeah. And Professor X essentially says that when he found her as a child...
That's what the scene is, yeah.
Okay. When he found her as a child, like he put up psychic barriers to make her powers less strong. And then whenever he would try to use them, like it made like a split personality that would call itself the Phoenix, and that was like the strong personality. And
it was a very vague explanation.
It was really vague, but somehow also specific. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was one of those ones where I was like, okay, well, we are then.
Yeah, I had to ask Phil later. I was like, what? And he was like, this. And I was like, I thought that's what it was, but I figured there had to be more to it. There wasn't. So split personality, one is her with just pure like emotional rage and lust and just
it calls
centralized
itself
emotions.
Yeah.
And then there's Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Which, okay, sure.
Although this does also add some like comic flair of they retcon something about Professor X that makes him much worse in retrospect. Because like at the same time, it's like you probably should just help her control it instead of like
blocking it off.
Yeah. Because remember the first X-Men movie, which was anywhere from a week to 2 years ago, story time. She had like just
what the hell with their hair? Oh, and then I think about how long Jean's hair got. It must have been a long time from the second to the third movie.
But her teeth were real white still.
That's true. Why did her hair grow at all, actually?
Because this is either 2 days or...
But
years.
The rest of her body should have... I don't know. I'm so
also, her fingernails would have been all long and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. That's fine. I guess the movie magic, you can't have that.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so then like in X-Men 1, she had like just started to come into her powers. Because there was that thing where she was like, Professor X is helping me get better.
So I'm kind of thinking what he was doing was like teaching her like restraint and strength. And then like slowly like loosening the like psychic wards that he had put up on her or something.
I guess.
Maybe? I don't know. I'm making assumptions and excuses that I shouldn't have to.
They could have added like another minute to just explain it though. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's... I don't know. They did a lot without adding to the runtime, which is another thing that I wasn't really approving of.
And then Charles said she was wrapped in a cocoon of telekinetic energy.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then me and Wolverine at the same time went, what? What? Yep, so we go from there to the Angel Boy. We go to the curing.
Oh,
the
yeah,
curing
because he's going to be the first test subject.
Mm-hmm. That goes well.
So they strap him up, and he's like, Dad, I don't think I want to do this. And he's like, oh, you do it, boy. Don't worry about it.
And he's like, no, I definitely
and they're like,
I'm pretty sure I don't.
And he's like, well, it's too late. We've strapped you down. There's not anything you can do to, undo. So would the wings have just fallen off or, like, receded back into him?
I kind of think they would have receded.
Yeah.
Because, Beast's hair didn't fall out. It grew back into him, right?
I guess.
So...
I don't...
Oh, yeah, I guess it would have come back into him. But, yeah, teenager Angel Boy is a way worse actor than child Angel Boy.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
His, power stance, because he, sprung free from his straps.
And he, did a little flex.
And he does, little flex. He did a weird flex, but okay. And he had his wings out. I was when I was little, I think I was like, oh, that's so awesome.
I want to be Angel when I grow up.
I want wings. I read Maximum Ride.
Jesus.
Did you ever read Maximum Ride?
No.
It's pretty good.
It's more the little Taylor voice I was enjoying.
Yeah, so he bursts out the window because glass doesn't hurt anyone when they do that or slice them up
ran through a plate glass window.
Yeah. Because apparently he also doesn't have just one power like Speedy Gonzalez, Pokedex.
There's also a line of people outside that just got a bunch of glass dropped on him.
Yeah. And he's completely impervious to glass shards hurting him. So he goes and he's like, I'm going to go find the school. And he flies away. Probably takes him a long time to get there because he's just got...
Does it?
Little wings. Who knows?
Because it took Scott days to get to Alkali Base, but it took Storm and Wolverine
time doesn't
20
exist
minutes
here in these movies. Boop 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 boop. I think we cut to the Magneto rescuing Mystique scene.
Yes.
After this.
Yeah. So
where Magneto just stands in front of the truck.
Magneto has the one move, and that's stand in front of something metal coming at him and stopping it.
Yep. Every time. There's a ship. The ship in the last movie, the train in the first movie.
There's the train.
There's another thing later in this movie. We'll get there. Fantastic. So he's in the train and he's freeing all of these dangerous mutants that are in
immediately
there with
agreed to join him.
Mm-hmm. Juggernaut is one of them.
Juggernaut.
Fucking Juggernaut, bitch.
That's not the line.
It is later, isn't it?
He doesn't say
he
fucking.
Doesn't say fucking. I did.
You did?
That's the line now.
Man, I hate... So they put in, that was, one of the first memes, was the Juggernaut bitch thing.
Was it?
Yeah. I think there was, it was kind of like an X-Men animated series abridged. And, that was a joke as the guy go, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Oh.
And then it somehow made it into, a 20th Century Fox massive production.
I kind of remember that.
It was off. I remember at the time I was 13 and I went poof.
But I remember adults saying that or something and kind of circulating on whatever social media we used at the time, 2006.
MySpace, my yearbook.
What did I was on Neopets or something. I was in 6th grade, I think. Definitely Neopets. So Mystique is freed. She kills that guy because she said she was going to kill him earlier.
Told you so.
And she did. Good for her.
Yeah. Get it, girl.
And then one guy is still alive. And
I hated this part so much.
He's going to shoot
Magneto.
And then Mystique is like, no! And then jumps in front of him.
Yeah.
And she gets shot with a cure.
Yeah.
Turns into...
just plain old Raven.
Plain old Raven. With dark hair.
Yeah.
Because she's Raven, so she got dark hair.
Caw.
Caw. And Magneto is like, oh, you saved me.
You're not one of us anymore.
Yeah.
And starts walking away.
Yeah. But he was like, you saved me. And then she was like, Eric. And he's like, you're not one of us anymore.
Bye.
But yes it. Bye, bitch.
It's I got something for you. It's $2.
What?
$2. And then just walks away.
That was sad because she's just lying there naked and afraid.
Yeah, and then he's like, she used to be so beautiful. And I was like, that...
Yeah.
That line made it where I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Because at first when he walked out, I was like, damn. Mm-hmm. And then he said the line, and I was like, well, you guys are kind of hitting on the head now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's another problem this movie's writing has, is they're like, oh, here's a decent line or scene set up. And just a bit too much.
I also wish that moment had, like, taken a little bit more time. Or at least, like, given us a pause between them.
Like the transformation taking longer or something?
No, the moment of...
Oh, those two being back together?
No, the moment of, Magneto being like, she's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
I wish that had been, like, a moment of pause of them looking at each other where she was like, Eric, please, because she knows what he's thinking.
Yeah.
And then he's like, sorry, love, like, kind of thing. Like, just something a little bit more, because there's so much room for emotional depth there.
Yeah.
And then they don't take it.
Right.
They don't take the opportunity, which is every goddamn scene in this movie.
Oof, boy.
Oof, boy.
Oof, boy.
Indeed. So, we go back to downstairs, the school, where Jean is, and Wolverine's hanging out with her.
There's a brief scene here where the Beast resigns from the president.
Oh, is that here? Gotcha.
Because the cure happened, and he was like, you guys weaponized the cure. You're not keeping me informed. That's what I'm here to do. And he's like, come on. And Beast is like, no.
Yeah, and Beast says, I need to be with my own
He's like, no, maybe I hear the blues are called.
That's what happens, Phil. Yep. So then we go to the basement of the school. Wolverine's checking out unconscious Jean.
Yeah.
Where Professor X was like, you don't know what she's... Earlier, in that other scene, he was like,
you
don't know what she's capable of. She's very dangerous. Don't wake her up. I have her under control. And Wolverine's like, it's probably fine if I wake her up.
She's fine.
She's fine.
He did that thing where, like, you're ready for your parents to wake up, so you make, like, a lot of noise. You're like, oh, good, you guys are up.
So, believe it or not, he wakes her up.
What?
And she's like, hi, Logan.
And he's like, oh, hey.
And then, you know, that great chemistry that they have and
then
have always
like,
had. And
he's like just staring at her chest. And she goes, Logan, you're making me blush.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're reading my thoughts. And she says, I don't have to.
It was so good, Phil. You tell
me, man, you guys nailed chemistry.
Yeah, you telling me you didn't like that or something? Because it was perfect.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a monster who only hates on good dialogue.
So then they start, like, you know...
Oh, they start hardcore going at it.
They're going at it. They're gonna do the do.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
They're about to... she's about to snap into a Slim Jim, if you know what I mean.
So they're doing the thing, or they're about to do the thing, and then Logan's getting his, like, flesh ripped open.
Yeah. Well, because she, like, scratches his arm and, like, just tears, like, a chunk of muscle out.
Parts of his back is, like, like scarring and ripping. And he heals, and he's like, nah, it's fine. And he keeps going.
he's like, honestly, kind of hot.
Yeah, he's into it, I think. And then eventually it happens, like, again, and he's like, whoa.
He's like, listen.
Wait, maybe we should stop here.
Let's set up some boundaries. Let's do some safe words.
And then she's like, no, it's fine. And then, like, telekinetically, or telekinetically?
She teleconks his belt away.
Teleconks! Tele-yanks that belt off.
Yuck!
Yeah. She yoinks it.
She conks it away.
Tele-yoinks. And then she yeeted him into a wall.
Tele-yeets it away.
She tele-yeeted him into a wall.
Oh, that's what it was. So they were making out, and then, like, her eyes turned, like possessed black. And he's like, hey, you good? And she was like, yeah, let's do this.
And he's like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Sweet.
And he's like, do you guys smell sulfur? And she's like, let's do this.
And that's great. And then she's like, fine. And then throws him into a wall and breaks the door off the wall.
I don't know if this is a valid complaint or criticism or however you want to word it, but this is just something I've always noticed, or I noticed during watching this movie, is whenever they have her powers going crazy, they always do a lot of things like they're all equal amounts of, like, impressive control, if that makes sense. So, like, like, you know, she's making this, like, water bag boil, and she's, like, shattering this glass, knocking all this stuff out of the medicine cabinet, and then, like, obliterates Cyclops' sunglasses, and then also, like, undoes the screws over here on this table.
Yeah,
and it's like,
true.
I feel like some of those are way more impressive than the other.
That's true. She's doing this all purposefully, probably.
Because, like, you see the screw get halfway out and then starts going back in, and then she looks confused and starts taking it out all the way again. She's like, "Where left you loose?" Yeah. That's right.
So Jean Grey
busts
TF out, and she just leaves the school, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Professor X
goes down there and victim blames.
Yeah, well, he noticed that Alkali Lake had this huge thing happening that's like 1,000 miles away.
Or 10 minutes away, we don't know.
Or 10 minutes Who's to say? But the thing right under his school, that's a little too much.
Well, he was doing a puzzle and, like, didn't want to be disturbed.
That's fair. He was playing chess.
Yeah.
Or, like wistfully staring at a chessboard, wishing Eric was on the other side of it.
Listening to Simple Plan.
And then X is like, "I warned you!" And Wolverine's like, "You didn't really."
Not really.
Because you could have told her that she probably killed Scott, or,
yeah,
she is capable of this specific bad things. But all he said was, she's capable of
she's
more
not
than...
herself. She was like, she's
not herself, and she's more dangerous than you think.
Yeah.
Which does not...
hella not specific.
Not tell us anything.
Right.
I mean, I don't blame Logan. I kind of blame Logan, but, like, I get it, I guess.
Well, if you guess,
We go to something with the mutants after that. The evil mutants. The Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood.
Because all I have written was
he's just doing one of his
Speedy Pokedex is stupid.
He's just doing one of his little rallies, I think. And then he ends it and goes, "Oh, he's that because we are the cure."
Yeah, but then that's when she tells him about Jean.
That's when she says that she had like an EMF wave, and just say that you found another mutant.
You could even pair it to that. You could say, "I found a huge, powerful mutant with the power to like do this kind of explosion," or
I don't know. It's just we get that we're here for like a fantastical mutant power display. You don't have to also try to relate it to real world, like, oh, it's EMF stuff. That's how she does it.
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit how she does it.
Yeah. So then I think, do we go straight to Jean's house after that?
I think so.
I don't know how they find her.
Well, because X is like, I know where she's going or something. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm assuming, yeah.
They just,
So then they drive up.
Use the plot devices.
They park. They all get out. They start walking up. And then Magneto is just standing there. And they're like, oh.
Even though they've been driving over there the whole time and probably saw him.
And then behind him...
maybe he was floating up too high and then...
They're like, oh, geez. And behind him are like 5 obviously bad guys.
Yep. They look like bad guys, so you know they're bad guys.
They decide to go in, and then Magneto's like, they don't come inside. And Juggernaut's like, all right.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. And Storm and Wolverine are outside, like, just talking.
Yeah, because Charles is like, I can handle that.
He's like, I'm fine. And they're like, are you sure? He's like, I'm fine. And they're like, there's not a ramp, it's just stairs. They go inside, and like everything seems quiet, and then they realize that like stuff's kind of floating, and they go in the kitchen. They see Jean Grey is like, just has like all the furniture in the house in the kitchen. She's like, I'm making a fort you guys aren't allowed in.
This is my secret fort.
You guys don't know the password. It's Phoenix Forever.
Dark Phoenix Forever. Get it right.
For Dark Forever.
So then Eric and Charles have a little spat.
Well, the thing I love is Charles is like, hey, I'm not here to hurt you. And Magneto's like, yeah, he is.
Yeah. He so is.
Just instigating this entire time.
It's fantastic. And then their fight just makes Jean angrier and more upset and more emotionally unstable. Stuff starts floating more and rumbling and tumbling. And
and then when Magneto walked in, he said, they don't get in the house. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Step 1. So outside, Wolverine's like, that's it, I'm going in, because like the mailbox is like flickering. And then he steps up, Juggernaut runs at him, flips him. And then the first move Juggernaut does is grab him and throw him into the house.
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
That's exactly what he told him not to do.
Oh my god. Well, actually, he doesn't even throw him because Wolverine like runs at him and then he just like flips over him like because he hits him.
So he flips him, hits the ground, and then Juggernaut picks him up by like his collar and his belt and like throws him in.
Oh, it was hilarious though. Him like
Yes.
was awesome. And then Storm starts raising into the sky very slowly.
Activates her tornado form.
She starts spinning and like puts her arms out and is spinning like that. Oh my god. It was my favorite scene in the whole It was so good. And then while that's happening, she like rams into the girl because, you know, they're arch nemesis now or something.
Yeah, because they're both the girl character.
Yeah, so they have to fight.
Yeah.
You know, makes sense. And because Storm obviously couldn't easily take this.
Well, she's super fast.
Yeah. You're right. What was I thinking? So there's a ridiculous fight scene going on. Storm used whirlwind. And Wolverine got.
Yes. There was that. So there's a part where they're fighting and Juggernaut like throws Wolverine up through the ceiling, and then like in the next room he falls down. I thought that was really funny.
The house becomes a gravitron.
Yes. Eventually, Jean starts like lifting up Xavier because she's winning the psychic battle, and
they all get stuck to the walls.
Yeah, she starts up to the house. They all get stuck up on the wall. Wolverine makes his way over there.
Literally claws his way over.
Oh yeah, he has like the claws, and he's like pulling himself over there. And we get and then Charles looks over just in time to like smile and wink at him before like getting Thanos snapped away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gets dusted real good.
Gets his dust on.
And then she's like, "What happened?" And Eric is like,
"Nothing. Let's
nothing.
go.
Just go with me now.
Nothing. Tra-la-la."
Tra-la-la-la-la. And then they go on their merry way, and then Logan goes up to the chair, which is the only thing left in the house because it's adamantium, right, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can't be destroyed, which is probably the truth. And Wolverine's like, "Oh no," and collapses.
And then Storm's like, "I'm also in this scene," and like hangs on to him.
Yeah, crying. Because she had no like sadness on her face.
Yeah.
And then suddenly she was collapsed crying with him, and that was a nice bonding moment.
Yeah. Now they're best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So close.
So I think we just transition into the funeral scene at the school,
we do.
Right? Yeah. She gives a little eulogy.
Storm, yeah.
And we see Bobby Iceman is like comforting both Rogue and Kitty at the funeral.
And we're like, "Ooh, spicy."
Yeah.
Bobby Iceman, more like Bobby Spiceman.
Oh!
Boom.
Yikes.
Yep. And so I think right after that scene, Kitty's crying in a room.
Yeah, and then
Bobby walks in and is like, "Why are you crying?"
Yeah,
and she's like, "I'm not."
You're crying.
You're crying. She's like, I miss home. Like, it's like not snowing. I just miss home. It doesn't snow here. Yeah. And he's like, "I can make it snow, girl."
And then Bobby Iceman is like, girl. "I'm also Bobby Frostman. Let's go."
I'm Frosty the Bob Man.
Frosty the Bob Man had a very icy cold. So they go outside of the fountain, and he freezes it, then makes his tennis shoes into ice skates, which is fine, I guess.
And she just had ice skates sitting in the corner of her room, conveniently.
I mean, because she was expecting snow in California? I don't know where they are.
New York, I'm pretty sure.
Is it New York?
Yeah, it is New York, because they showed the plate for his gifted youngsters school.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, he's like in Albuquerque, New York or something. I don't know any cities. Yeah, so they do a little ring, and then we show Rogue is like
watching
and like upset.
I wonder why.
Well, because they're very clearly flirting. Well, this is that part where like she goes to fall down, so he like pulls her and like catches her, and like they do a wide shot of it, and his hand is just straight on her ass.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
It's at least below waist.
That seems unnecessary. Because I thought they were gonna kiss or like almost kiss, but they didn't. They just like looked at each other.
And then one of them would be like, "No, we can't." But then like Rogue would already be gone by that point. Like I thought that's what was gonna happen.
Yeah, but it was like a weird borderline friendship romance thing. I don't know what they're trying to push here at all for these two. I have no idea. So Rogue is like, "Screw this. Bobby is obviously cheating on me.
Yeah, and
I'm not gonna talk to him about it. I'm leaving."
Yeah, and then she goes back. She goes downstairs, goes to leave, and Logan's like, "Where you going, kid?" Or no, he's like, "Need a ride?"
No.
And she's like, "No,
no."
You always make fun of me because I can't buckle my seatbelt. I don't have time for that."
Oh, there was no seatbelt thing this movie.
I'm sure there was a deleted scene on the bus where she couldn't buckle it.
I hope so. Man.
It's probably tied to her powers. So.
It's her second power. Seatbelt inability.
Yeah.
It's a lack of ability.
Yeah. Oh man, just both short straws in the mutant jeans.
And she's like, you don't know what it's like to not want to use your powers. And he's like, I do. And she's like,
oh, she's like, because to be afraid to get close to people because of their powers.
Yeah. And she's like, I can't touch anyone. I just want to touch someone. Just a hug, a handshake, and then
a kiss.
A kiss.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I hope you're not doing this for some boy. And she's like,
you're doing this for some boy.
Yeah. He's like,
I'm gonna make my own fort.
do this for you, Rogue. She's like, shouldn't you be telling me to stay? And he's like, no, do your thing, man. Just do it for you.
He's like, I'm not your father, I'm your friend. And I was like, oh, that's a cute line.
I like them. Yeah. They actually probably do have the most developed relationship in this whole series.
Yeah. I think that scene was great. Yeah.
They don't have much, but it's the best of any relationship. Woo! So Rogue is like, oh, yeah. And then apparently that's all she needed.
Yep.
To do it for her.
That was the last little push.
So she leaves. And we go to Magneto and Jean after this.
Oh, yeah, because so he has the cure gun. And he's like, this is metal, I can, move it to my will, but you can do anything. And then she breaks it apart, pulls out the curse needle, or the cure needles. Yikes.
The curse needles.
The cure needles, and like points at him, and he's like, okay, that's enough.
Enough. And then she stops, and they drop to the ground.
Because she does not respect authority.
No, she does not. And she's like, you sound like him, in front of Charles.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what he said.
He was probably like, you sound like him. As they're walking away.
And basically just a scene of them just
and
training.
Well, no, because there's that line where Pyro is like, she shouldn't be here. She's one of them.
Yeah, that was right after this.
He's like, so were you. And then Pyro's like, well, I would have killed the old man if you gave me a chance. And then, And then Magneto is like,
Savior's death was like my...
Well, he's like, Charles did more for mutant kind than you'll ever know. My single regret is that he had to die to see our dreams come true or something like that.
Yeah, that was almost exactly what the quote was.
I was like, sweet.
That was good. I liked that.
Yeah.
Made me sad. He's mourning his ex.
And then I think we cut to the last 4 teachers are hanging out in the lounge, and then Angel walks up and is like, hey, is this still a safe place for mutants? And Beast is like, nope. And Storm's like, yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. And then high fives herself.
It still is. And then it's a weird scene.
So we find out Bobby waited literally all day to go talk to Rogue.
Yep.
Goes to her room, opens the door. She's not there. Steps outside. We see Colossus just one-arming a giant CRT.
As you do.
Awesome.
As you do.
And then he's like, where's Rogue? And Colossus is like, sorry, bro. She went to go get the cure.
Yeah, she gone.
And then we do another weird thing where time doesn't work correctly because he beats her to the cure place.
Somehow.
Yeah. And then Pyro's like, here to get the cure or something. Or he's like, going to get the cure so you can go back to your mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, Bobby Iceman doesn't just freeze his head.
And he's like, you're looking for your girlfriend. She's pathetic. And then they're trying to fight. And then they don't fight. And then...
I would have loved it. That was where a fight scene happened at. Mm-hmm. Personally, because then if
then
Bobby Iceman had lost there would have been a redemption thing later on instead of just a one time. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing I have where not enough stuff was set up for it to feel as resolved as I feel the movie thought it made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm glad they didn't fight because then it would have been a whole these mutants are dangerous and Bobby would have been a part of that, whereas Pyro just set everything.
Yeah, he just did
flame.
the little pachu.
Which then I wish we would have gotten something where the public was like, "Do you see these mutants are dangerous?"
Right.
And their protests are not peaceful, which would have been good commentary.
Yeah.
But
instead it was Magneto was just threatening everybody.
Yep.
So we have Wolverine decide to go get Jean Grey back. And Storm's like, you can't go find her, and then he's like, sure I can. She's still alive. And then he's like, I have to go find her. And Halle Berry's like, oh, because you love her.
Yeah, except it's not said as emotional as that.
No, it's just love her.
Yeah. Because you love her? And he's like, oh, I don't know how to answer this.
And then he does that turn away thing. And he's like, you love her.
Yeah.
And then he there's like a fight scene in the woods where he's like trying to infiltrate into the Magneto camp.
He walks forward and he's like immediately shot by something.
Yeah, he's fine. So takes a step, shot.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
And there's a kind of cool fight scene where he was like going through the woods fighting people. And then we have Magneto saying they're going to take the fight to Alcatraz and like wipe out the boy. They're going to kill the boy essentially.
Yeah. Wolverine goes through all these people and then he sees Jean.
Yeah.
And then that's when Magneto's like, "Ha! You still have metal in your body."
Yeah, he's like, "I can still do this."
And Jean got like a costume change because I guess they
have
one of like
3. Yeah.
Yeah, they have like a costume outfitter there.
Well, that's Speedy Girl's other power.
She did say she had more than at least more than one, but probably more than 2.
Well, she has to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she'd be like among 2 things instead of among many things.
She looks pretty good, Jean.
Yeah.
So Wolverine got stabbed in the chest.
Yes.
And put like big old holes in the shirt.
Well, yeah, so you can see like the regen effect.
Yeah. So there were holes in the clothes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So cut to a few scenes later.
Did they do the thing again?
They did the thing again, Phil. At this point, I'm kind of thinking that Wolverine's clothes also have healing capabilities.
You know, like Wolverines. You can't... You put a sweater on a Wolverine and stab it. The clothes get fixed. Don't stab Wolverines. I take that back.
I'm going to put a thing on the video.
Please
do not stab Wolverines.
Wolverines are
God.
friends, not food.
Why doesn't Magneto just incapacitate Wolverine?
Just okay.
You don't even kill him.
So the
he can
adamantine
regenerate.
is coating his skeleton.
Right.
Pop it off.
He can regenerate. I get that, but like, if you can't even pop it off, but just like twist him.
Yeah.
So that he's stuck
just
that way.
tie him in a pretzel knot.
Yeah. Right. Like, I don't get it. Put him in a metal cage. Why would he fling him away so he could just escape again?
I don't know, but there was that
line where
Ian
McKellen.
he like lifts him up. And Wolverine's like, "I didn't come here to fight you," and he goes, "Smart boy."
Mm-hmm. What? So Wolverine gets flung away, and that's the end of the scene, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, because he's like, "You think I'm keeping her here? She's here because she wants to be."
Yeah, and then I guess she does. And then we cut to a scene. I don't remember exactly what happens, but like the president is talking to Hank, I think. Maybe? No, he's
talking
already.
to Trask.
Which one is Trask?
The one that from the first scene, just a big character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they have like Mystique or Raven now, I guess, and she's giving information.
Oh yeah, and he's like, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned."
And I think a part of me died.
Yeah.
Watching that scene.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I like a piece of me is still on that couch, dead.
Did.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Yeah, it's just such a... You said it. You did it, guys. Good job.
Awesome. So glad that happened.
Then we cut back to the X-Mansion where Wolverine storms in and he's like, "Guys, gotta get the band back together. There's one last battle of the bands. If we win this, we can take it all the way. We'll get our record deal."
And then they can have music in the school again.
Right. And then
all the kids can play
and
guitars.
then John Lithgow will let them dance finally.
Yeah, Jack Black comes out on the stage and got his weird schoolboy shorts on.
School of Footloose. I forgot about that movie.
They've all got their outfits on.
Yeah. They each have a different like color trim on the leather, which is kind of cool. I liked that. That was cool costume design. I actually kind of really dig the X-Men suits.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I think it's a little bit silly that they're like colors suit like match.
It makes me wonder who like put that together.
Right.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, it was fine. It was cool.
How do you get those delivered without being like, we're the X-Men?
So they're gonna go to Alcatraz.
Gang goes to Alcatraz.
Gang goes to Alcatraz.
Play the theme song.
And this next scene, I'm pretty sure, is why that budget was so damn high.
I loved this scene. Is this the bridge scene?
Yes, it is.
I dug this. Paint me a word picture. Take it from the top.
Paint me a word picture. So we see, and there's like a coastline that the Magneto's army is standing upon, looking over like San Francisco and Alcatraz Island and everything. And they're like, "We need to get over there. That's where everything is." And Juggernaut's like, "Well, I can't swim. So I guess we can't go, bitch. So I guess we can't go over there." And Magneto is like, let me take care of it. And then I was assuming Miss Speedy Girl probably has another power where she can just teleport everyone over there or something.
Really fast, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But instead we cut to the San Francisco Bridge. And there's like a kid in a car playing Crash Bandicoot or something, right?
Just the demo reel.
Oh,
yeah.
The demo reel, right. Nice little plug there. And then the bridge starts shaking.
Yeah.
And they're like, is that an earthquake?
And then no, because we're in the middle of the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't think an earthquake would hit that hard.
It would.
Would it?
Yeah, I mean, California gets pretty bad.
There's another gap in Phil's knowledge, and that's how
well,
the Golden Gate
know about
Bridge...
the really bad earthquake that happened in San Francisco in the 60s or 70s, right? 70s, I think.
I do not.
No?
Welcome back to Earthquakes According to...
That's... Yikes. That's one of the biggest ones recorded, U.S. history.
Oh, I believe you. I've just never looked into earthquakes.
Alright, yeah. Well, it's not an earthquake because this kid's a little dumbass. It's because there's, screws coming out of the Golden Gate Bridge and everything. And I think we see... As, cars start, flying, everyone's like, what's happening? The cars start parting like the Red Sea. Mm-hmm. And we see Magneto walking forward with his merry band of mutants. And then he starts pushing cars off the side. People are screaming and running and probably getting smushed and run off the side of the bridge. Super cool.
Yeah.
And then we see the bridge itself, the road on it, entirely start to crack and tear apart and everything. This is the section. I think they pretty much rip it, the whole middle section of the bridge off, and then turn it so that they are able to access Alcatraz Island.
Yes.
So that, and during this scene, Magneto says, Charles always wanted to build bridges.
Oh, Jesus.
And then they build a bridge to Alcatraz Island.
Yes.
And it was pretty sweet, actually.
I liked that scene a lot.
That scene I think that's where a lot of their budget went. Probably.
I think that scene through to the end.
Yeah.
I think stayed.
But that's gotta be huge because that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Oh, as far as their budget, yeah, that's probably where that was because that was an entirely CGI scene.
Mm-hmm. And it looks pretty good.
That was a practical effect. They actually took the bridge.
It looks pretty damn good for a CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed. That was pretty cool.
So then we have the X-Men roll up, we start. I think we get a couple hints of the fact that they're using plastic weapons on them, because there's probably that stuff where they start shooting. There's that awesome line where Pyro goes, "Let's go!" and starts waving them all slowly.
But he's swatting away a bug or something. Yeah. So they had the plastic guns, but Magneto still thought they were metal, so he could control them.
Yeah. He's
so instead of the all-time classic
line...
they
ruined your line, yeah.
Homo sapiens and their guns.
Homo sapiens and your guns.
He says...
You humans and your guns.
This is the most disappointing part of this movie for me.
Which is saying something. And
something.
she's not wrong.
Ugh!
And trust the pawns go first. That's why the pawns go first.
I did not catch that. Oh, no. So then they destroy the plastic guns anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know how, Phil?
Because she does a shockwave targeting just the weapons.
They target just the weapons.
Not their skulls.
Yes. Makes sense. Right? Right.
I don't know.
Sure, maybe she's really skilled and knows how to control her shockwave. Sure. That sounds like she could just do anything she wanted to me.
It sounds like it, yeah. Oh, this is where we get all my stars and garters.
Yes.
From Beast, yeah.
That was cool. We've got Kitty and Bobby going underground.
Yeah, so we have
go?
everybody's entrances, right? And Storm just floats down. Wolverine uses his claws to slow his fall and land. Beast just jumps in. Colossus, I think, just does a combat roll when he lands. Mm-hmm. And then Kitty jumps down with Bobby, and they just go through the ground, and then come back up.
That sounds horrifying to me.
I don't know
what do they experience?
I don't know how she gets them back out.
How do they go back up?
Right? I honestly don't know what happens there.
Can she stop the phase at the bottom of her foot and
well, she'd have to solidify it enough to. I don't know how you'd carry that. I don't know.
I have no idea. Comment and tell us how this happens.
For the love of God, please.
Please, someone explain this movie to me. Everything is really ridiculous in the fight. Oh, and then Storm and Pokédex Girl.
Yeah.
Have a great little fight, because why not? Storm starts doing her little rising again, and then Speedy Gonzalez goes up and
she
jumps
jumps
out
up twice and just tackles her out of the air.
Yeah, which I think was kind of awesome, because you never see people are going up for a big power up move, and you could just knock them out during their power up.
Right.
But they never do. I respect her for going for it.
No, good move.
I respect that.
She's zipping around, and then Storm does a spinning back fist and just clocks her.
Mm-hmm. It was a decent fight.
I liked Beast fighting here, and then Wolverine was like, "I thought you were a pacifist," and then Beast was like, "There's always a time for," and then starts punching. She's like, "Oh, you get it."
Yeah, I liked that.
And then he was like, "Maybe I hear the blues are calling."
Stop it! Stop it! Oh. And then Kitty is running through the...
Oh, yeah, because Juggernaut's just going to go kill the kid.
Yep.
Mania's like, "Go kill the boy." And he's like, "All right."
All right, bitch.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill the boy, bitch."
And Magneto was like, "What? What did you just call me?"
Jesus.
Who are you? Kitty finds the boy. She's running through wall. Oh, actually, Juggernaut's chasing her first.
Yes.
She's running through walls. He's running after her.
Okay, so that was actually cool.
Ducks away.
She does that little dispatch where she runs up behind him, jumps, grabs him, pushes him on the floor a bit, and then runs around him.
Yeah, that was
pretty
good.
cool. That was pretty...
Yeah, she sticks him in the floor.
That was pretty lit, fam.
That was pretty lit, fam, indeed. I was like, because you were in the beginning, you were like, "What is Kitty gonna do?" I was like,
"Oh yeah, she lands," and I'm like, "What is she gonna do in this fight?"
"She's gonna not get hit."
Quit trying to not hit me and don't hit me.
But then she does a cool thing, because she sticks him in the ground, which is a great move.
Yeah.
For anyone who's not the Juggernaut.
He's the Juggernaut.
He's the Juggernaut bitch. And that's the real line right there.
Yep. We got a winner, boys.
The Juggernaut bitches we made along the way.
It's not about the journey. It's about the Juggernaut bitches we made along the way.
Can we tell me that's the title of this? No, it's not. We can't.
We can't. No, we cannot.
Fine. Runs through. He's bashing the walls after her. He's an idiot, so she ducks next to the wall, and he keeps going. And then apparently he notices she hasn't continued on.
Yeah, he
stops.
Finds her, yeah.
So she goes to find the little boy, who I don't think we ever get the name of.
It's Jimmy.
I think I saw Leech in the cast characters potentially.
Leech. I don't know.
And she's like, "Come with me."
It's a
and
little
then she's
boy
gonna
from
phase through the wall.
From Butterfly Effect fame. He played little Ashton Kutcher.
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 Cut,
How does that?
Cut to share.
Cut to share.
Cut to share.
Ashton Kutcher.
So she's like, "All right, let's phase through this wall. This guy's chasing me after me." And lo and behold, she cannot.
Dude, it's a good thing she didn't just full force into that.
I know, right? She cannot phase through that wall. Do you know why, Phil?
Why is that?
Because it leeches the powers out of you.
Oh my god.
So he's like, "You can't use your powers," and she's like, "Ah, shit."
She's like, "Come here, get it." And then he's like, "All right." Runs at her, she jumps.
Juggernaut finds them, goes after her.
If you could move, dickhead. What is she? She calls him a dickhead, but I don't know what the to it is.
She's like, something like that.
She looks around, there's no adults, and she's like, "Come and get it, dickhead."
But then she realizes, because Kid is smart, that Juggernaut also will not have his powers when the little kid is nearby.
Right.
So she dodges his attack, and
luckily, because she still would have been full on tackle by that guy.
Right. Still probably would have been DED dead.
Right.
But he bashes into the wall and knocks himself out.
Like a bitch.
Oh! Boom. And they run away. That's great.
Forever.
Angel Boy rescues the dad, who's getting pushed over at the side of the building by some angry little mutants.
By the porcupine guy.
Porcupine guy and the...
Probably Daniel Day Kim, if that's his name.
Shockwave dude.
Yeah.
Dudette.
Yeah. It's a really good thing that Angel didn't dip into that kid's zone of nullifying.
Yeah, what if they just happened to be in the same what is the range of that kid? I want to know.
A bit, because remember Beast was going in for a handshake. He wasn't by the kid yet, and
Yeah, so it's decent. And then we get our big fight between Pyro and and Bobby Iceman.
This has been building for 3 movies. This fight scene right here.
Wizard
duel.
The suspense of it has just been crazy for me.
You think you can take your friend? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Bobby Iceman.
Oh my gosh. So then they get their ice powers and their fire powers all juiced up.
Yeah,
And then they
he
go.
gets his chocolate and his peanut butter.
And it's a song of ice and fire. Hashtag Game of Thrones. Hashtag
this is
Song of Ice and
X-Men,
Fire.
not Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
And then there's like 5 minutes of different people noticing one of the cure cartridges on the ground.
Bobby wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we go over that?
No.
Yeah. Bobby wins.
Just
Just so you guys know. He's like losing slowly and then he becomes full on ice suit boy.
He becomes Bobby Iceman.
Oh my god, Iceman! Oh! Champion of the pyro! Oh!
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, so the cartridge happens, and oh god, yeah, the scene lasts forever.
There's like 45 seconds each of characters looking at it, and then Wolverine's like, "We go in as a team," because that was Storm's line earlier. So Storm says, "The best defense is good offense." I made a pack win. I don't know why I did that.
Best defense is an
She's like, Logan, go tell Bobby. Tell Bobby that Hagrid said. So,
did you just make a Harry Potter reference?
I did.
Oh. I caught that very late.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So we have Wolverine goes to Colossus and he's like, "Toss me."
Toss me.
So Colossus does. Magneto
tosses him.
Obviously just grabs Wolverine and slams to the ground. He's like, "You never learn." And then Wolverine's like, "Actually, I do, bub." He doesn't call him bub. He should be calling more people bub.
Bub.
And then Beast jumps out and like stabs him with all four needles. Yeah.
4 needles. I feel like that would impact him severely more than just the one that we've seen with every other person.
Yeah, which
that's
has
been
done
hit
it
with these.
for each one that gets hit with it.
Why 4?
I don't know, but four's a bit.
I feel like that would have murked him.
Probably
good.
murked him right dead. Mm-hmm. Plus, it was like in the heart.
It didn't though. He just became a normie has been
for like 5 minutes.
What?
We'll get there.
Okay.
So everybody starts leaving because Magneto got cured. So obviously the fight's over. Mm-hmm. Because the Emperor got defeated, so obviously the Galactic Empire is going to fall now.
Yeah, that's true. This is how democracy dies.
Yeah, thunderous applause. Prequels. So everybody starts leaving, and Jean Grey's like, "Well, I'm still in this movie. Let's do this."
Even though I thought she was like their weapon.
Yeah.
But Magneto didn't
utilize her a little bit.
Not once.
Not even a little bit.
Not even. Oh, that was so frustrating.
Well, here's
What's the point? What's the point?
He was like, "I can do anything with this metal. You can do whatever you want with it, right?" And I thought that was going to be what made it when they had the plastic guns. She's going to be like, "We don't have the plastic guns anymore." Another fish. I don't know if she... I thought she was going to be responsible for like taking care of the plastic weapons.
Right.
Instead it was...
Shockwave Girl.
It was Shockwave Girl. Who
an unnecessary character who didn't even need to be in this movie. Could have been a side character.
90% of the cast.
You are correct. But it could have been Jean Grey being some use to Magneto.
Yeah, it could have been like a wonderful display of power. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Jean loses her cool.
Because people are like, "We're going to shoot you." And Logan's like, "Don't do it." And then they're going to do it.
And then she full on like Neo like stops dozens upon dozens. Yeah. So... And then Jean just loses it. She starts like flipping over cars, but like evaporating them before they hit anybody, and then also evaporating the people that would have hit.
Dusting them.
Yeah, she's
Thanos
just
snapped him right up.
She snaps right up.
And while this is happening, I'm just like, this is all Scott's fault.
Yeah.
If he hadn't just gotten over it,
if he would have just kept his eyes shut.
Yeah. Just gotten over it, like Logan said, because of their equal grief.
To not everybody heals as fast, okay?
To Alkaline Water Lake.
Yeah.
And Jean never would have come back.
That's true. God damn it, Scott.
God damn it, Scott. Stay dead.
So Jean's going crazy.
Probably won't.
Wolverine starts like walking towards her. I actually like this scene a lot, but like Wolverine starts like walking towards her and getting like peeled apart, and then he finally like fights his way up to her, and this Yeah.
From childhood.
And then she's like, "You would die for them," and he's like, "Not for them, for you."
for you.
Yeah, and then cuts her in the belly.
Yeah, well, he says, I love you.
Yeah.
And then cuts her. Because she's like,
save me.
Save me. And then he says, I love you, and then stabs her. And that was a really good scene. It was really well done, really well acted, I think. But I would have enjoyed it a lot more if their relationship meant anything.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Yeah.
They, like, got it on one time.
Yeah. Kind of.
And had, like, a couple scenes of flirting?
Maybe.
And that's it. So I don't know. Disappointed.
I would argue that Bobby and Kitty Pryde had flirted way more than Gene and Logan did.
Yes. I agree.
But
I mean, Bobby and Kitty Pryde had flirted more than Rogan. Bobby Iceman. So
well, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You know what I mean? They're just looking at each other like, oh, if we could touch.
And that's where I wrote down, did we ever find out why she would come back? No, we didn't. So, Jean Grey eats shit and dies. I'm just telling that like it is, Phil. Little lip.
Oh boy. So yeah, she eats shits and dies.
She eats shit and dies.
And then I think we cut back to because then that transitions into the Gene and Scott tombstones.
Memorial,
next to Xavier's. And then Kitty Pryde's out there looking over him, which I don't know. Why? I don't know why she was so connected with these people.
Nope.
But
I just like her because
Professor X, I totally get why the school is devastated.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I like Ellen Page, which is why I like this character.
Yeah.
But I have no attachment to her at all, other than that. So, because she's like, I don't know, I just miss home. And I'm like, where's home? Where are you from? Who are you? Hello? So I don't care. But then it goes into the school, and Rogue is back.
Yeah.
Right?
Rogue back. Bobby goes to his room, and Rogue's sitting there, and she's like, I got the cure. And he's like, I didn't ask you to do that. And she's like, I did it for me. Mm-hmm.
And then they hold hands, and it's cute.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I don't, because I felt like there was supposed to be like more like apprehension from Bobby's side, but like, I don't know.
Like, resolved so quickly, and
yeah, I don't know.
No emotional complexity whatsoever.
Or if he was like, listen, you left, I'm with Kitty now, and Kitty like steps through the wall, and she's like, deal with it, and then like steps back. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen.
No. Deal with it.
Deal with it. And then I think. This is what I want to talk about. So at the end, the bus rolls up, and then the kid who blocks mutant powers runs off the bus.
Yeah.
How is this school gonna work if
I had that
an entire quarter of the like school doesn't have mutant powers at any given second?
Well, I was gonna say maybe Charles can block off his powers. No, he can't. He's dead. Yikes, mate. So I don't know. He's gonna have his own. Well, there's plenty of classes that probably don't utilize.
He can never go in the danger room, or people die.
Yes. Well, I think that his big thing is he's not going to go in the danger room. He's going to learn how to like try to control his powers, so he knows how to like turn them off and on and stuff.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Are these characters even going to be in the next movie? What's the next movie?
I don't want to talk about that yet. We'll talk about it at the end.
Is that Wolverine Origins?
We'll talk about it at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway, so that's just one of those, I don't know. I don't know if Storm is the best person to be the only teacher they have right now.
Well, Wolverine's there. He's going to be like a full-time teacher probably.
I guess, but like what's he going to teach?
And is that it? Are there any other adults here?
The Beast might have stayed? Oh no, because he's a part of the UN now.
You're right. Yikes. They need some more teachers.
Oh boy.
Ooh, boy. So, we cut to Wolverine looking out from the school? Is that what it is?
Yeah, because there's a weird ending shot that's like, oh, we cut over to the park because Magneto's playing chess by himself and not locked up as a terrorist. Mm-hmm. And then he has like metal chess pieces in front of him, and he goes to reach for one and stops, and then it wiggles.
Yeah.
And then we cut to credits.
So no one is fully cured.
Right, probably. But at least the big impactful death of Professor X.
Yeah.
Mattered and stayed.
Yeah.
Until the end of the credits when he wakes up in the comatose body that we forgot to mention earlier.
What comatose body?
So there was it was in the ethics class where he was like, this is Dr. Moira something.
Oh.
And he was like, this body has been comatose for years and there's no signs of life, but like all that stuff. And then he takes
weird
over that
one-off
yeah.
thing that doesn't matter. But it did matter, I guess, because that's Charles Xavier
That's it.
So nothing matters.
Yep.
Nothing really matters.
Everything ends except Scott. Everything ends like the same way it began.
Scott's dead though. That's and Jean's like dead.
She was dead to begin with.
Yeah, but like we all knew she was coming back, and now she's.
Oh yeah, because fucking Dark Phoenix, man. Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that was that was like one of the first ever end credits scenes done by Marvel movies.
Is it?
Yep, because Fantastic Four had one, and that was like the year or two before this.
Fantastic Four had one?
Yes, it did.
What was it?
Well, I think it did. I was trying to Google. It was kind of difficult finding this, but this is the first X-Men movie to do it, and the X-Men movies were like pre.
They were pre-MCU, yeah, because Iron Man was 2008.
Yeah, so Iron Man was the first like MCU one to do it.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, I think, had one, so I think they were like one of the first. But this is like the second or third one to do it, I think. So that's pretty cool. It was annoying, and it was really short, and like it felt like weird and added, like just hatched on like the rest of this movie. But hey. But I thought that was nifty.
So my big problem with this movie is that they brought Jean back. If they had just done like the Gifted storyline, like the cure and that little boy and like taking a stand, I think all of this would have been so much better.
I think you're right, because in reality, Jean didn't have any kind of full impact on this at all, other than killing a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, because Scott didn't need to die. It would have been a better story if Scott had stayed alive and been like coping with leading the school and everything.
If he had to lead the school while also grieving,
how
then
would Professor X have died though? Magneto or something?
I don't know. Maybe Pyro killed him as like I got the old man, and then Magneto's like, you can't do that,
and then kills Pyro.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. I would have been fine with that. Yeah, I agree. That seemed like the whole point of this movie, but it felt like almost a side story. The Phoenix thing, you know?
Yeah, well, that's where I don't know. I kind of realized that during the credits, it was like you could have waited to do just a whole movie about that and like come back to it. You know what I mean? But instead, it was like, we got to get Scott out of here because for whatever reason he can't be in it. I don't know why Scott was killed. It might have been like scheduling conflicts or something. I don't know if he was in something around the same time.
That's fair.
I think they just made an inferior movie with getting him out of there because I felt like he was the one that was always so close to being a strong character in the other two
but
movies.
they just didn't give him the potential that he needed to fulfill that. But I think you're so right with the whole. I think he provided the most emotional like complexity for any character, but they killed him really early on.
Yeah, they did. But if they had just gone with like the cure storyline, I think. Any time where Jean was like on screen, if they replaced that with Rogue's struggle to get the cure or decide if she wanted to get the cure, then I think we could have just made a much better movie.
I concur.
This was the first X-Men movie not directed by Bryan Singer. I think this was Ratner. I think Brett Ratner.
Brett Ratner. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of curious what Singer would have done with it. I think he did Superman Returns around this time.
I'm not sure.
I think he left to do Superman Returns. And I'm actually kind of interested to see what he would have done because like X2 was such a marked improvement over the first one.
It was.
I feel like that if you took that momentum into 3 and just focused on like the Cure storyline, you could have been. What's up?
Bryan Singer did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, but I've heard it's fantastic.
It is.
Cool. Nifty. He also did X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, he comes back eventually.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Superman Returns was 2006. Nice, you're killing it.
Yeah, so he left to do that. I don't know, I would just like to see how else this could have been done because this was 1 and 2 had weaker scripts, but I think the cast did a better job performing with them. And this one I felt like was more of a directorial letdown than anything else because I don't think the script was any worse than 1 or 2's was.
No.
You know what I mean?
I'd say it's about the same. I think that.
Granted, I haven't read any of these. I have not looked into reading any of the scripts for the X-Men
and
movies,
I probably won't. But I think that like the actual screenwriting felt choppier than the next
well, yeah,
two.
well, it's because it also
And
like
I wish I could remember X1 a little bit better, but
but yeah, I mean, I think trying to shoehorn in Phoenix and introduce us to all these mutants that we don't have to care about and have no reason to care about, it just made everything so muddy, and you didn't need
choppy
any
and
of it.
hashed up, and just like everything was just like patched together essentially.
Yeah,
Rather than one cohesive, beautiful story that I just that's what frustrates me the most about all of these. Really, is the potential that they have, and they just don't fulfill the potential. Because, like you said before, there's so many moments that these characters have an opportunity to like shine, and then it falls flat.
Yes.
Every time. There's never a moment where I'm like, yes, get it.
Right.
Never. I'm like, it's always like, that was fine.
They tried. They did close. Yeah, they almost got there.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, though, this was another movie kind of like there was points where this like got really good, and it wasn't ever like character based. It was usually like action based or like spectacle based. There was times where I was really into this movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the Golden Gate Bridge to the end, I was pretty engaged with this movie the whole time.
Yeah.
Of that scene. You know, the scene in the house where Jean kills Charles, all that stuff. Like I there were moments where I was like super in on it, but then in between those moments there was just nothing. It could have just been static, and I would have gotten the same amount of entertainment out of it, and not missed anything between those two scenes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I don't know. I complained mostly about the lack of depth in relationships and development of characters, and I think that's my biggest issue. Because I think the story's fine. I have my issues with their choice of including Dark Phoenix in it, but like if they'd given time for characters to actually become real people, I would have liked it a lot more.
Sure. So we're gonna get into the ranking part now. Like we said before, right now we have it as number 1 is X2, X-Men United, and at number 2 is X-Men. But see, this is where I kind of want to talk for a minute and ambush you, on air. That way you can't think about it. What are we using to rank these against each other? Is it overall the way the movie is put together? Is it rewatchability? Is it how much you just kind of ambiguously enjoyed the movie? Like what do we want to do
I would say,
to
like,
rank these?
Overall construction of the movie, as in like components of it. So like the balance of characterization, of storytelling, and of just like enjoyability, face value kind of thing.
Okay.
I almost think we need different like rating lists for it, but yeah, I don't know. Because I'm really struggling right now with thinking of where I want to put it, above or below X1. It's definitely X2. I would say is better.
X2 is. So here's the thing: is about a half hour in, I was like, "Am I gonna like this more than X2?" Because I know I talked a lot of trash about Origins, and I stand by that. But I know I also put X3 like right below everything else that I had seen. And I was like, was I wrong? Is this better than X2? Like, did I just not understand it as a kid? And then eventually I was like, oh no, this is just a little bit more inferior movie. But I feel like I'm really conflicted over whether or not this is above X-Men 1. Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes down to it, if I was to put one on, then it's of X-Men 1 or 3 Last Stand, if I had to pick one like to watch right now, I'd probably watch 3 again.
To rewatch?
Yeah. And that's just because the action scenes were cooler.
They were cooler.
And you wouldn't get any more like story out of them.
This held my attention better than both of the other movies.
Yeah.
The whole time. I never really like checked out like I did with the other ones.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Rewatchability, I'd say this would actually be number 1 for me. Woof.
Oof.
Because I'm trying to think about X-Men 1. It's definitely not better than X2.
Well, here's the thing. I know X2 is just a better, well put together, constructed, paced movie than 3 is. Mm-hmm. I think to watch from start, like if I were to start the series over again, I think 2 would be the one I'd look forward to the most. But 3, I think, would have cooler scenes that eventually you'd get more into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that doesn't make for a top-ranking movie.
No.
So
right now I'm gonna pitch this at number 2.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. What makes it better than the first one, though?
I think everything that this movie doesn't have going for it, the first one also didn't have going for it. And the stuff that the first one did have going for it, this one had doing it. It was doing it better. So like it was cool seeing all the X-Men start using their powers a little bit and like, you know, like trying to thwart Magneto and, you know, a couple of cool little fight scenes here and there. The only thing I like better in the first one than I do in 3 is that I really like Rogue and Logan, and we didn't get a lot of that in this one.
That's true.
That's the only thing I liked better in 1 than 3.
Yeah, that's fair, because, and I was saying earlier, the first movie, it didn't have the benefit of us already knowing these characters, so it had to introduce everyone, and then delve into their relationships, and that was a struggle for that movie, I think. Yeah. It was not very good at exposition.
Right.
And not very good at character intros. Except for the dynamic. Yeah. Wolverine and Rogue were great, but that's about it. So at the end of my watch of the first one, I gave it like a 5 or 6 out of 10. At the end of us watching it, I changed that to like a 3 or a 4.
You said 3 out of 10, yes.
Yeah. I'd probably give it a little bit higher than that. I was just mad at the time because happens. Oh god. I gave X2 7 out of 10. I'd probably give X1 like a 5, maybe.
Yeah.
And then maybe this one like a 6.
Okay.
I think that's where I'm at. But man, is it close.
Yeah, well see that's the thing is like these first 3 are all very close in like quality in my head.
Yeah. And they're such similar films.
Yeah, and I think if Bryan Singer had done Last Stand, I think it would be better than X2. Mm-hmm. Because he showed such improvement with a bigger, wider cast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that's kind of a feat by itself, is to like double your cast and make a better movie. Like that is kind of a feat, you know what I mean? So I would like to see how he would have handled this one.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately we got Brett Ratner.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's done, to be honest with you.
I looked it up. Not much. Gotcha. Rush Hour, Red Dragon, which...
Gotcha.
Yeah. So...
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, I would vote for number 2.
I'm thinking number 2.
Okay. So right now, the X-Men ranking as it stands is number 1, X2, X-Men United. Number 2, X-Men Last Stand. Number 3, X-Men.
And that's where we're sitting at.
We've done it.
Now that we've placed it, it is correct.
Yep.
And 100%.
And you cannot argue it. No matter how hard you try.
Nope. We will not listen. We will plug our ears and go, hey.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. He's seen me do it.
Yeah. I've done it too. I mean, we all have.
We can't deny that. All right. So what is on the roster? Phil, I know you are excited.
No! So next week, join Taylor as she talks about X-Men Origins Wolverine by herself.
Woo!
No, because I gotta make sure you rank it number 12. I can't let you just go rogue, because you'd be like, this is number 1.
Yeah,
You can't argue with my list. It's definitive.
Payback, Phil. We can't skip out on these because then we have too much power.
That's true.
Unlimited power. All right, well, join us as a collective next week as we watch X-Men Origins. Wait, Wolverine Origins.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Is that what it is?
Yep. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine. Thanks for joining us today. If you liked what you heard today, please subscribe, like, turn on notifications, comment. If you didn't, do those things anyway.
Yeah, just to spite us.
Yeah, and then you can like hate watch us.
Oh yeah. Oh man, you can just watch and just shake your head every time we talk.
Yeah, it'd be so
that
good.
That would stick it to us.
It would show us so hard.
Oh my god, you could follow us on Twitter at @TheRealPhobo and at LaterTater.
Yeah, you could even follow our Twitter.
Yeah, at Home Brew Gaming.
Whoa.
If you wanted.
That would just stick it to the man, you know?
But like if you like us, also think about doing that too, because we would just have hate followers.
Yeah,
We'd have people that actually engage with us.
We're very sensitive. We would like good positive comments.
We'd like a good 2-to-1 ratio.
Well, if you liked it, then like it. If you didn't, do it anyway. Thanks for joining us. This is Taylor.
This is Phil.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace out.